Hello, I'm just making this video as a public service announcement for people who are going through a tough time, whether it be recovering, suffering a loss through grief, through a family member or a friend passing. In this world today, there is just so much non-acknowledgement of someone going through a tough time. Many times we can see it when we are around people, but we don't acknowledge it. And my feeling is that if we did more acknowledging of someone pushing through a tough time, it might make this society much greater. It might fix some of the ills that go on. Communication, I think, is the key to anyone finding their way. A lot of times when you're struggling and nobody acknowledges it, it places a burden on you, the person that is having the tough time, whereas a little encouragement, a little support can go a long way. Things are so tough, with employment and the way the government treats us as far as using people, I think many times as a commodity instead of a source of strength. That the common everyday man gets lost behind bureaucracy, and I think bureaucracy needs to be able to reach down to the common citizen more so they understand what they may be creating within a city, a state, or society. The lack of communication, say in Flint with the Flint water crisis, I don't believe it was deliberate, but on all levels throughout the government in Flint, because they were having a financial tough time. They're just looking to save money, but I believe those people were probably not trained to manage a city or guided how to do it. They ran for an office and had no experience in it, and they looked to save some money by going in the Flint River without actually testing the water. And I think that the checks and balances, as far as, did you do this, did you do that, did you have the water tested for contaminants and whatnot, I think some of those steps were sidestepped, either due to looking for a monetary savings or just negligence in regard to the impact it might have on the community, not thinking that possibly Flint, a very highly industrialized city during the automotive boom, that, and government being the way it is, not making companies clean up after themselves, just cutting them a break. With over the years, a change in management or managing of cities, these people unaware of the things that need to be done in order to move forward to make such an important change as in where you're getting your water from in this area. And it's disgusting because the state of Michigan is one of the largest, it is the largest area of fresh water in the world. And to have this happen here, it's embarrassing for a Michigan native like me. People like Michael Moore getting in the spotlight. He doesn't live in Flint. He is just looking to promote some of his work, ambushing people instead of trying to create a better situation. He has a history of ambushing people. He ambushed Roger Smith in GM, and also he ambushed Charlton Heston, who was suffering from Alzheimer's, and degraded, to me, one of the great Americans in the entertainment field by showing him that way when he was suffering. He was suffering from dementia and Alzheimer's, and many times people don't want to put that out there and don't want to have their suffering or diminishment advertised. To me, Michael Moore is not a good human being, not a decent human being. And that's what I have to say on that subject. Another subject that has been in the news a lot lately is Making a Murder, Stephen Avery, and the way law enforcement goes about convicting criminals. And for the most part, I believe that government and police departments do their job the way they should. And then there is a small amount of people who are disrespectful to that authority that protects and serves the majority of people who are just trying to get through life, and just trying to live. And they end up suffering at the hands, causing their own suffering by being defiant. But then, on the other side of the coin, you have officers that they play their hunch, even though everything doesn't lead to that person being guilty, and yet they push forward with it and nothing else is looked at. And it seems to be proven a lot more these days because the groups like the Innocence Project and just general citizens are saying, I'm not guilty, I'm not this, I'm not that. There are so many people who are found innocent of crimes just because they looked like somebody. It was all really circumstantial, and they end up spending years of their lives in prison because an officer is too prideful to say, well, maybe it's not that. Eyewitnesses tend to be unreliable, and sometimes an eyewitness wants to put the finger on somebody because I don't like you. And officers have no reason for knowing this. Sometimes people are framed. I don't think it happens real often, but it does happen. And I think that we have to look at death penalty as a way of resolving this situation. I think that in cases of where people are accused of crimes, whether it be uh, substance abuse, theft, violent crimes, I don't think prisons are an answer. I think prisons have become an arm of profit for some of the people in the justice system, and keeping them filled because they are expensive to run. I think that the better way to do it is to honestly rehabilitate or try to rehabilitate these people and help them understand how to be citizens that can be productive within a society. And I don't think we do that. I don't think our politicians are interested in that. Big business isn't. I think a lot of things with the class system here in the U.S. is they are trying to create a have and have not society, and the people that are caught in the middle of this, of the 1% and politicians who are striving for that, there's a true battle going on. And the people who have the wherewithal and the money to make the have and have not society come about are trying to dismiss what are the Davids of this David and Goliath clash. And I don't think that you can overlook how many people have been unjustly imprisoned for decades or executed when they were innocent. And I just think that many people, if they treated their fellow man more decently and showed compassion when they're struggling, a lot of these situations wouldn't come about. And people get under pressure because they're not making enough money. There are health issues within the family. Loss of very dear family member can cause all kinds of thinking issues and mental issues, and learning how to work through grief and work through difficult times and teaching people how to cope through difficulty can only improve this society, instead of just shoving people into a jail cell or tossing tickets at them and having them pay fines, because that doesn't teach anything. That's so Middle Ages as far as punishment. Punishments for laws that have been broken have to be much more creative and educational and teach people how not to be, and how to be more respectful and courteous and concerned for people, even if you have no stake in what's going on. And many people may say that what I'm saying is a bunch of hogwash and it represents one side of political party or another, but you know what? I don't like any of those political parties. I want somebody who's going to be on the side of the humans. That's my species. That's what I am. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm a human being. And I don't want to inflict uncomfort or make somebody feel bad about themselves in order to make myself feel good. I think that's childish. That's something that most of us try to learn to grow out of when we're children. And when we suffer losses and suffer changes that are uncomfortable to us, we need to have someone there to teach us how to cope with it and deal with people on a mature, kind, and considerate level. It's not a party thing. It's not a class thing. It's a human thing. And I think more humans need to learn how to treat each other better and be educated for it when they do things that are unspeakable, such as hitting a woman, beating a child, molesting a child or a woman, bringing harm to someone. Yes, these people can be dangerous. But there's always more going on than that. And maybe people don't want to learn how to change because they're we have limited time on this planet. So to cause someone suffering for something that losing someone or losing a job or being unhappy with the situation, these are challenges that teach us how to approach problems and realize that maybe these things weren't for us and there's something else out there for us that's going to be better and work to our strengths. We can't always take the easy way. Taking the easy way doesn't help anyone grow. Taking the hard path is the path of growth, the path of change. We all have to change. Thank you for listening.